When people think about the Olympics, most imagine the best athletes in the world coming together and fighting it out to see who is the best. And in the most part, this is true, but there have been some bizarre and mind-boggling sports played in the Olympics in the past, which may even make you reconsider the word sport. So here are the top 10 most bizarre sports that have ever been part of the Olympic Games. Coming in at number 10, walking. Now walking may not sound very bizarre, but as an Olympic sport it is quite baffling, and one of the few on the list that actually is still occurring. So basically it's a race, but you're not allowed to run. It's kind of like having a car race, but the drivers aren't allowed to move out of first gear. The rules are simple. Competitors are to maintain contact with the ground and straighten their front knee when the foot makes contact with the ground, keeping it straightened until the knee passes under the body. What that essentially means is that both feet need to stay on the ground at all times. It is quite a spectacle to watch as they shuffle along wiggling their bums. To keep to the rules, walkers can be given yellow or red cards for not sticking to the definition of walking. Strange, yes, a sport maybe, but we are just getting started. Coming in at number 9 is a modern pentathlon. This is another event still going today and combines the strangest sports together to form the event. It is based upon the military requirements for a good cavalryman way back in the day. Originally a 5-day contest, the modern pentathlon was shortened to 4 days in 1984 and to 1 day in 1996. Contestants take part in 5 different activities: a 200-meter swim, a round-robin fencing one-touch competition, a horse show jumping competition that includes 12 obstacles. The final event combines the shooting and running disciplines. Competitors alternate between 3 rounds of shooting with either air or laser pistols, depending on the competition, at 5 targets within a 70-second time frame, and 3 1,000-meter cross-country runs. Competitors begin the combined shooting and running event in the order of their finish in the previous 3 events combined. And the first athlete to cross the finish line after the third 1,000-meter run is the pentathlon's winner. To be honest, as bizarre as it sounds, you need to be pretty skilled and athletic to compete in this category. Number 8, solo synchronized swimming. So, we all know synchronized swimming, where swimmers have a whole team of participants performing in perfect unison. Synchronicity, if you will. The clue is in the name. Solo synchronized swimming, meaning a lone person swimming, was a sport at the Olympic Games between 1984 and 1992. It is surprising that it took the organizers 3 Olympics to realize that a person swimming alone cannot be synchronized with anybody else. It was supposedly meant to be synchronized with music, but that didn't seem to work out very well, as it is no longer a part of the Olympic Games. Coming in at number 7, pistol dueling. This one took place at the 1912 Olympics in Stockholm. It wasn't quite as exciting as it sounds, as participants weren't actually firing at each other, which would certainly have added an element of jeopardy to the proceedings. Instead, the participants would take turns and had to fire at mannequins dressed in frock coats, as back in the day dueling was the sport of gentlemen. These mannequins had targets painted on their chest and were positioned 30 meters away. The sport has been dramatically altered and evolved since then. Number 6, tug-of-war. This game actually sounded quite fun and is still played today. Let's just say not in the Olympics. It appeared for the first time at the Paris Olympic Games in 1900 and was featured on the events list until 1920. It offered 8-man teams, often made up with competitors from different countries, and they had to pull their opponent 6 feet to win or make the most progress within 5 minutes. Interestingly enough, the British team was made up of mostly police officers and was actually one of the strongest, winning 2 gold medals and 1 silver while the event was around. Coming in at the halfway mark, number 5, rope climbing. Rope climbing was held as part of the official gymnastics program in 1896, 1904, 1906, 1924, and 1932. Competitors raced to the top of the rope in the shortest time possible. They started in a seated position on the floor and used only their hands and arms to reach the top. It is bizarre, but may not be the most entertaining sport to watch. Number 4. Club swinging. Club swinging made the cut as an Olympic sport during the 1904 and 1932 Summer Games. Club swingers whirled around bowling pin-shaped clubs quickly around their body and head with routines similar to those of modern-day rhythmic gymnasts. Club swinging involved the competitor standing erect with a club in each hand. Unlike juggling, the clubs do not leave the hands. Judges awarded points based on the routine. An interview with a competitor from the 1932 Games remembers that they weighed 1.5 pounds each. Some reports say that the clubs in the 1904 event of club swinging were decorated with colorful streamers. The 1932 event was called Indian clubs and may have been performed differently. Number 3. Plunge for distance swimming race. If you've ever stood on the side of a pool and dived in and seen how far you can go, it is basically the same thing. Instead of the artistic and challenging aerial feats that modern divers must undertake to walk away with the gold, plunging for distance required the competitors to make a standing dive and then remain motionless under the water for a full minute or until their head broke the surface of the pool. Whoever went the furthest won. Oddly, this lasted but a single year in the 1904 Olympics. The biggest feat of this may be just holding your breath for a minute. Coming in at number 2, live pigeon shooting. Yes, you heard us right. We're in Paris, 1900. For possibly the most shameful event in Olympic history. The object of the sport, as you may have guessed, was to kill as many pigeons as possible. Contestants had 6 birds released 27 meters in front of them and were eliminated if they missed 2 in a row. The event was won by Belgium's Leon de Leyden, who managed to terminate 21 pigeons on his way to a blood-filled glory. The event turned out to be quite messy, and in the end, with over 300 dead or injured birds on the ground and blood and feathers all over the place. This was the first and only time in the Olympic history when animals were killed on purpose, although the event is not listed in official IOC medal records. Luckily, the Olympic Committee saw it fit to return to clay pigeons, as we are sure they must have received a huge amount of complaints. And coming in at number 1 of the most bizarre sports ever played in the Olympics, we return to Paris, 1900. This was admittedly only a test event, meaning it didn't have full Olympic status. They were just trying it out for the following games. Funnily enough, it didn't make the cut. It involved 128 competitors performing in front of a crowd of 6,000, where they had to clip the fur off as many poodles as they could in 2 hours. The winner, Avril Lafleur, clipped 17 poodles and took home the gold. Now imagine this, with 128 competitors, imagine how many poodles there must have been, not to mention the cleanup after that many dogs doing their business. Which one of these did you find the most bizarre, and would you like to see any of them make a comeback in the future Olympics? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.